y'all ain't at work. You better get on here. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Hey, Kelvin, how are you? All right, y'all are coming in. So we are going to go ahead and jump right into it. Um, Hi, Pastor. Hey, Mikhail. Okay, so I am so excited for those of you that my name is Vicki Hampton with LKM Enterprises in partnership with A Project Global. Our to help millennials create legacies of wealth by making homeownership a reality in 90 days or less. So we seek to educate and to inspire. So this podcast, Wealth Building Wednesday, we do it every Wednesday. Hey, Lamont, we do this every Wednesday, and the goal of it is to really help us in our walk in life. Whether we're entrepreneurs, working in America, or you're a blue collar worker, there's someone here that I bring on that can help us, whether it's financially, spiritually, emotionally, medically. We have some dynamic renovation room. We had Sarah Brown from Brown and Associates talking to us about tax benefits and how to make sure that we're decreasing the amount of taxes that we're paying to wholesale. We've got Alonzo Abram who talked to us about vision and the time that it takes to actually see a vision come to fruition. So today is no different. Every month we have a theme, and this month we know is Women's History Month. So every week we will have a dynamic woman on to talk to us about what they do and how they can assist us, right? So last week we had Bianca Robinson teaching us how to scale our business, and this week we have Colby Chapman. So I'm excited to have Colby on. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us what she does, and then I'll tell you how I met her. And thank you for providing the platform for business owners and leaders to come forward to your audience and speak out. This is the best way networking social media. But I'm 32 years of age, reside in Harvey, Harvey World. Y'all already know. I've been working in education now for about 7 years. Kind of built my way education system. I started off as a behavior specialist in like security um, within the school. Got education, really assisting students, post-secondary, and I work as a director of services. Graduated from Southern University. I'm in the fall. And I even 6 years in the bachelor's. And the mission just has been about doing that. Started a organization called Media back in 2015. Really, that was just a way for a platform to provide youth financial literacy, understanding basic business, why we need a checking account, why we shouldn't go cash our checks in currency. Not necessarily. And so just working with you has been definitely and working daily. So think about her relationships and education. So that's what our topic today will be about. We know that the schools are closed down. Whether you're in elementary school, grade school, high school, college, the kids is at the crib. So we are going to talk about what education means to our young people and how we as parents as well as business owners can ensure that our children are being educated and being able to take advantage of all of the opportunities that are available to them. And then as business owners, how we can help to create some of those opportunities in education. So just to give a little background about how I met Colby, many of you know at one point I ran for a political. And so during that time, I met Colby on the campaign trail. And I was immediately impressed with her, just a dynamic young woman. So I'm really excited to talk to you about what education like means to our young people. So we know that it's important that they get an education. We know that we got the public school system, we got the charter schools. Um, what do you, as an educator, what do you see lacking in our school systems?
It's a two-way effect. I see it on a good and bad side. So social and emotional learning is like a new hit to the school system.
Okay.
I think we're paying more attention to mental health and
Thank
like what
God.
that looks like. Like
Yeah.
mental health isn't always as strange as uh, a specific medically termed illness, right? Mental health is a basis of living at home within a toxic household. And so a lot of times, a lot of our youth, especially the ones I deal with specifically in high school, ages 15 to 21, that demographic is lacking social and emotional substance from a household. And so even like right now in this time of, this epidemic or this pandemic that we're going through, over 400,000 plus youth are without. And so I got parents calling for basic needs like food.
Yeah.
And so clearly we have a social and emotional imbalance somewhere along. And I just think it's an echoing effect of everything that goes on in the communities. If everything that I walk past is dilapidated, then my state of mind is that as well. Like no one cares. And so I think that's where we have the biggest lack is socially and emotionally. And as you know, as Black people, that has been a disguise anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it was only what 400 years ago we
Yeah.
So I think it's just a definitely that's
So do
personally.
you feel like, so I would agree with you that even just in what I see with mentoring young people, that it's the basic needs
Yes.
are lacking in so many areas. So whether it's food, whether it's utilities consistently running, whether it's learning how to cope with situations,
Absolutely.
right? So when we're talking about like mental and emotional health, I think that's important to point out because it's not just like you say, it's not oh they're bipolar or ADHD. It's not that. It's can I cope? Can I get some news that is either disturbing or news that's negative and be able to handle that and process it in a way that can be positive? Or am I lashing out? Am I becoming violent? Am I becoming overwhelmed with my emotions to the point like I'm falling down, I'm having a grown tantrum? And I think that those things are so important that we in the school systems, but as well as parents and community leaders,
Absolutely.
that we're paying attention to that.
Absolutely.
The social part of it is so big. I mean, literally, like I talk to kids and they're angry, like really angry, and it can be small stuff, but I mean they bottle that up, and it's like.
I mean, we needed you when you're laying here, you were the pastor to talk to a young lady. Yeah. But then that women's event that was hosted to like really settle her, and so that distress is like a real thing.
And it's interesting that you brought that up. So for those of you that don't know, like I said, I spoke at Excel Academy during their Women's Week, and it was an awesome time. And when we were all done, a young lady kind of, she started screaming in the hallway. I could hear it. Of course, everyone kind of heard it and was like caught off guard by it. So I went to Colby. Of course, I'm not like an educator or anything. I went to Colby and I said, listen, can I just hold her? Can I pray with her? Can I just try to, somehow comfort her? And so Colby allowed me to do that. And it really was me and the young lady laying on the floor, and her just laying in my arms and crying and sobbing until she felt okay. And then once she got the crying out, she actually was able to articulate why she was upset and why she was crying. And then I was able to kind of give her some help as far as coping and why these things happen. But that is not abnormal, right? Exactly. So like this happens, and then the other part of it is we as parents, as educators, as professionals, have to be okay with getting our hands dirty, right? So not just saying like, oh But being able to say, like, listen, I'm here, I'm with you. Let's go do this together. And I think that sometimes that's missing. Like, there's a disconnect there.
Huge disconnect. And even too, like I think a lot of times in this whole circle of social and emotional health, a lot of times our primary dependents, we don't even look at them as the primary dependents. And I think that's a downfall too. You know, it's always the social service programs
Mm-hmm.
or this program over here or that, when the real programming needs to be done in the
In the
household.
home. Yeah.
Reprogramming what's going on in the home. So every time a lot of my kids, they built this system of which is a social and emotional balance of I can always go to this secondary resource and they will give. And so that makes a codependent type of people in our
Right.
world instead of independent. And that's the real issue.
Yeah. And okay, I like that. So we're actually not even realizing, but we're conditioning our community and our young people to always look for external sources of comfort, external sources of
Absolutely.
resources,
Yeah.
instead of teaching them how to look within and say, okay, listen, this happened to me. What inside can I do to calm myself down? Even as an adult, and it's crazy, I can say, like, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I realized I really didn't have coping skills, right? Like, it was either, ooh, I'm all the way up or ooh, I'm all the way down. Like, there was no in between. If something dramatic happened to me or something that hurt me, if it was a loss of a loved one or like a loss of a relationship, I would become like very like, and it would take time. And then once I got over that, it went, straight back to the top. And I actually, a friend of mine told me, like, it's not supposed to be like that, though. Something happening to you is not supposed to knock you out for 3 or 4 months at a time. It's really supposed to be, okay, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. Let's work through this. But your life is supposed to carry on. And I was like, because I thought this was the norm. Like, this what happened. We be like, fall down and then you get back up after some time. And so on my journey of like mental health and realizing like I didn't have coping skills, that made me start paying attention to young people. Like if I'm grown and I don't know how to cope, how in the world could someone 15, 16, even younger know how to cope, know how to deal with the emotions that they're going through? And the world is so much bigger now than it was. And when I say bigger, I mean like we have access to so much, right? So like social media in itself is a stress. Like it can be a trigger because okay, people are constantly judging you and what you're putting out there. And as teenagers, we trying to find ourselves and figure things out, but now we put up on a national scale. So instead of us, okay, I got and I'm gonna talk to my mom and my friends about it. Whatever. No, all social media is pointing it out when I post a picture like, okay, why your face is like this? Why your edges is not together? Like, where your lashes at? It is. And so all of those things are like contributing to our children and their mental health.
Yeah, their psychosis is like way off. I mean, I couldn't imagine, or I can't imagine, and I see it daily, just the demand of like the need for specific items. Like, so I can't just have a regular belt. I mean, back in the day, you was on if you had the Coach tag.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like that was the thing. But at this point, it's such a widespread of the thing, and it just puts a this important this not even
pressure
important, yeah,
almost.
pressure on parents, and then there's a disconnect. So it's just a constant disconnect on so many layers.
Yeah.
So
And they're so what they're learning to do is really build. Hey Duke, hey Vernon, thank you guys, Pastor Walton, for tuning in. So what they're really learning to do is value themselves based on material items. Absolutely. And not from within. And that in itself is also scary because it's like, okay, what happens when you don't have those material things?
Exactly. That outward expression is something different.
Yeah. It feels different.
Yeah, it does.
So one thing I want us to take from that is, as parents, we want to pay attention to what we're saying to our kids, right? And how we're helping them to develop. So what does that mean? Is that we're speaking life into them, that we're telling them that they're awesome, that they're beautiful, that we're expressing things to them. A lot of us have grown up in a society or era where it's like, your parents told you to do something and that was it. But I think that in this generation, it's important that we are telling our children yes and no. We're explaining to them why. They have to understand the wherewithal, the mental capacity of why we're coming to the decisions that we're coming to, so that they can then make those type of have those critical thinking skills. Yeah. If they don't know, and it's just because I said so, they kind of go through life on this dark path of like, I'm just doing so, and I'm not thinking through it. I'm not being asked to think through it. So Colby told us something really important here. Coping, mental health, social health, it starts at home. Yeah. We got to start it here. And if we're doing the work here at home, and maybe you as a parent don't know what the work is or don't know how to do it, that's okay. There are resources available to get those skill sets, right? Absolutely. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Calvin. That's good. Right, it is. What up? Yeah. So I want us to not be afraid of that. As a community, I feel like we will ask for financial resources, but we will not ask for social, mental, financial assistance. You know what I mean? So understanding why we are the way that we are, understanding the growth of children, right? So I took a class in school where it literally talks about, from birth to 18 months, like children develop their trust, right? So understanding child development and what they're developing at certain ages, and this may be why they're acting like this, because something happened at that age where they didn't have trust. So when they were a baby, they were left to cry for hours at a time. So now there's a lack of trust there. So that's why they act out when they got older. We gotta be able to decipher through that and walk through that. So that's one. That's step number one. Parents at home, we have to pay attention to our children. So right now, everybody at home, kids at home, parents at home. This is a great time to be talking and going back and forth. Hey, Santana, going back and forth with your children. Like, how are you feeling emotionally? What is it doing to you that we out of school for 2 weeks? Do you even know why you out of school for 2 weeks? To be aware is to be alive. Yeah. And you know how you can like in a household. You talk to your folks every day. You never really talk to them. And this is a great time for people. Man. Like this right here, this opportunity to talk, because there's nothing else going on. There's nothing else you can condition yourself to. This is a great time to, as a family unit, to gather together and do something great. Whatever that means to you in your household, like do something great amongst each other. But that's the thing, like parents, it's a disconnect of parents, I feel like, and children. Again, that secondary resource. I mean, working in a counseling role at school, I often hear so many stories told to me that the students feel so comfortable and adamant to tell me about. But I asked too, have you told your parent this same thing? And there's a lack of whatever there. And it really is around time. It's like really how you spend the time with your child, right? You know what I mean? I'm with students from 7:30 in the morning to roughly about 4:15 in the afternoon. So a large stake of the day. When most kids get out, and it's just the way America is run overall, right? I really feel like there's more time needed. It's funny that everything that was stated that we couldn't do now within this pandemic we can do. Like, right. We can work remote. Parents need more time with your kids, right? So that we won't have to rely on these secondary resources. So like my kid go to school, then they got to go to the after school program, and then somebody got to come pick them up, right? So then that's and then when they get home, it's a rush to eat, take a bath, go to sleep. Yeah, and so I've been there. I know parents have to do what they're making ends meet, but right. That's what I'm saying. So that's okay. God loves you, man. Because to be honest, this is what I feel like all of this is, right? So this was a moment like God is saying, we've all been talking about vision, right? Everybody been going into 2020 like this my year, this the year of vision. Okay, part of vision is seeing, and God is showing us. Like, listen, look at what you were focused on. Period. And how this is affecting everything else. So we've been so focused on I. Now we're in the middle of a pandemic. People that need water can't get it. Need just common bread. I went to the store yesterday to get bread. There's no bread on the shelves. There's no water. Yeah. But what is this showing us? Our selfishness. Like, so God is saying, I'm doing this. I'm allowing this. I'm not doing it, but I'm allowing it because I want you to see you so that you can fix it. Because that's the only way we're going to be successful in the next generation. That's the only way our children are going to be successful is if we acknowledge where we messing up at, where we not getting it right at, and then we work to fix it. But the way that the world turns, like you said, is always going to go. Ain't nobody never going to sit back and acknowledge or even be able to know what they messing up at because there's no time. We in the rat race. So now it's like we don't have time. Ain't no rat race. It stopped. Everything. The whole world has stopped. That's the amazing part. So now you got to sit back and you got to look at, okay, we at home with the kids for 2 weeks. Are we talking to each other? Do I even know you? And I think a lot of parents and kids are going to realize that. Like, I don't even know what my child like. I don't even know what my child watching on television, what their interests are. And now is the opportunity that you get to do that. Absolutely. To the fullest extent. To the fullest extent. That's I think it's important that in situations like this, that's how we look at things, right? That we flip the perspective. That this does not have to be a situation of fear. This does not have to be a situation of chaos. But instead that we look at it and say, this is an opportunity for me to get to know me, for me to get to know my family, for me to maybe branch out and decide, listen, I've been thinking about starting this business. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it because I got time. I'm going to build these products. I'm going to take care of these services. I'm going to research what I wanted to do in business because now I have the time and it's not me trying to do it at 10 o'clock at night knowing I got to get up at 6 to go to work. I could do this all day. Full autonomy is at the highest level right now. Yeah. You have full autonomy. Yeah. Like, so if you're not maximizing your time, like partnering up with brands such as Whitney's and just really diversifying your portfolio, but see from a different perspective, not just on a money level, right? A connection level, but diversifying your portfolio, getting to know people. Like, this is the time to do it, y'all. So, and really build those relationships. Man. Whether it's personal, business, relationships are a core of everything. And I think that we've so shifted to be a transactional society that the relationships have been lost. So now it's like, okay, you got to get back to these relationships. You got to get back to knowing each other, caring about your neighbor, recognizing, okay, I got a senior citizen that lives next door to me. Let me check on let me check on them and see, like, are you okay? Do you have the things that you need? Are you able to get your medicine? Those things are important. So pay attention. Develop those relationships right now, right? Colby, business owners, okay? We about that money, but we gotta be about the community too, right? Yeah. So as a business owner, how can we give back that is in a way that's not just I dropped off coats at wintertime and we do that. And I know that that's important. Like that need has to be met. So it's good that we do that. But what can we do as business owners on a consistent level to give back in the school system? And that's the biggest difference between that immediate, that action, and that long-term effect. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they gonna need a coat again. So how do we make the coat more sustainable? But I really think as far as business, it's really about being socially responsible, which has a lot of benefits to it. Businesses can apply for what's known as becoming a benefit corporation. Okay. And so when you apply to become a benefit corporation, and you'll know these companies because they have typically a seal in their window with the letter B and a seal around it. Okay. And that just distinguishes that they're being socially responsible. Businesses like Walmart, your major retail brands,
have these foundations where they're giving X, Y, and Z money out to local business owners
Okay.
and or nonprofits. But I think it's really important to think about not so much what you can give, right, but what can you once again partner with at your everyday expense, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think we've lost the sense of career technical education, which is why now the trade business is booming. So because we cut that off in schools, a lot of young people have lacked the skill set. Okay, and so even for myself, when I think that I graduated born rich, period. No.
I think it's a wildcat over here.
It's all good. It's all good. No, when I graduated back in '05, the immediate thought was to go to college in August or even earlier. We were in a program, a summer program.
Right.
So that whole mindset has become a total switch.
Right.
And so what I mean by like, really incorporating young people within businesses, it's like you got something that needs to be cleaned at your business, and you got some inventory that needs to be counted for. These different, you have a human resource department, you have a business department, marketing, and yours may not be as distinguished of a 50-page book that's regarding human resources. Yours may be about go out, you the recruiter, go and grab four of your friends. I need y'all to do a lawn project. You to talk to young person. Human resources skills, marketing. I mean, an array
That's
of
good.
skills that you didn't even think about it in that way because it's like
Yeah.
right. I'm saying that's that evil that we have to get over. Like everything is in a 10-page paper on how to do it.
Right. Right.
You get it done in a particular way, but it gets it done.
Right.
It's effective. It's a good process.
Bianca Robinson always said that perfection, us wanting to be perfect,
I know,
actually
also
stops the process.
But
Hey, Chapman. Hey, Nelly.
hey guys.
I like that though, and I think that that's important. Is that we're able to talk to young people about one what we do, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times children are looking at what they see on TV, right? So that's what they aspire to be. They're aspiring to be what they see. So what they see are rappers, what they see are athletes, musicians of some sort, or maybe drug dealers. They're seeing. But if we were purposeful on making them see educator, counselor, real estate broker, GC, general contractor, HVAC technician, plumber, electrician. If we were purposeful with letting them see those things and explaining to them, listen, first of all them jobs I just named make a whole lot of money. Okay. So, and that tends to be what kids are like turning about. That's what they're excited about. Is okay, I'm gonna be able to sustain myself. I'll be able to sustain my family. But this opportunity is actually reachable, right? So the average person that wants to be a rapper, even if that's a talent of theirs, you're unlikely to make it in a major way, right? As an actress, and I'm not deterring you from those things, but those are not likely to happen in the way that we see other people do, right? So instead of like, I'm gonna focus only on this, what if we said, listen, this is a technical school. You could be an attorney. You could be Attorney Robinson. You could be Counselor Colby. You could be mayor. You could be governor. You could be a banker, a loan officer, Shavana, Barry, Aubrey. You could be loan officers. If they understood, like, we could do this, make great money, this is something that they could become passionate about and really realize, like, they purpose.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times kids, if you rapping, figure out, okay, YouTube is got a market. So what's your market gonna be? You know what I mean? Maybe you trying to get on video games and play your tunes on there. And so that's the issue, right? We always market the highest level of it all, right? Them little layers, them the most effective pieces of the puzzle. That's the real
graphic designer, the videographer, the producer, the engineer.
All of a lot of times, like you said, we just get stumbled in the process, right? People need to pass down blueprints.
Man.
I literally went to 69 West Washington, third floor.
Come on.
Da 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 da.
Come on.
I bust the left right there.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
And that,
like this, you like a blueprint.
And we can't be afraid of that, right? So I love that you said that, and it's important, especially us as a community, that we are not afraid to tell somebody how we do. Okay? Listen, I don't care how many people sell real estate. They can't sell real estate like we sell real estate. Okay? They can't treat you like I treat you. They cannot give you the same services that I give you. So, and people can attest to this. I have new realtors that get in the game and they call me and they say, Winnie, can you show me how to do it? Can you tell me what this is? How can I market myself? What are the essentials to that? And I have no problem giving up that information.
That's love. Like that's
because I want you to make it. When I got into this, I didn't have anybody doing it. I didn't have anybody saying like, okay, you gonna be a broker. This is what you do, X, Y, Z. This how you market. This is the niche you need to. I didn't have that, so I was determined. Once I figured this thing out, I was gonna turn back. And every person I came in contact with, if I could assist them, I was going to. So we have to get out of that. Oh, if I show you how to do it, then that's taken away from me. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's 1,000 attorneys out there. But Charmaine, that's why that's my home. One of the best to do it. That ain't taken away from no other attorney. It's April Center. I use different attorneys, right? But they all attorneys. And they all real estate attorneys. And them working with each other, talking to each other, collaborating with each other. That's not stopping any of them from eating.
Man, it collaboration over competition all day. Like your circle, your most six immediate go to, like that's a representation of it.
Yeah.
You won't always be in a position, push yourself in a position where you're constantly learning. Yeah. I'll forever be a student. You know what I mean?
And it's important that you have people around that you can learn from.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the smartest person.
That's
And that's something again I learned too, because it was like growing up, I was straight A student, all of that. And so I always appeared to be the smartest person in the room. And I used to take pride in that, like, man, I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, but then how do you grow? If you the smartest person around, how do you get better?
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. So you have to surround yourself with people that are better than you, that are doing what you want to do, so that they can help you and say, listen, I see you doing this. But if you go right over there, it'll be a clear shot.
And that effort again, to be aware, to be alive, like information is so imperative. It's the most important tool. It's like that is the tool.
Yeah.
That's the real key.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just it.
Information and resources.
Yeah. This is it. Your relationships and how you maneuver through that, and your social currency, if you will.
Yeah.
It's really important.
So tip number 2, as business owners, we want to give back. Right?
Yeah.
Not just giving back financially. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying don't keep giving to our hat, gloves, socks, and scarves drive, or our coat drives, or our turkey drive. We're not saying don't do that, because those things are needed. But something that we can plant, that we will continue to see a harvest from, is really creating a blueprint for young people. Just choosing maybe 1 or 2 kids a year to mentor and say, listen, I run a lawn care business. I want to take you with me. I do snow removal in the wintertime. I want to take you with me. And every winter, you're going to know that you're going to be my shoveler. You're going to operate the snowball. I'm going to teach you how to do this first.
Skill sets.
Man, as a real estate broker, I take my daughter everywhere that I go when it comes to real estate. And people that, my clients that have used me, they know Leilani can do a final walkthrough probably better than most realtors. Okay, she opening windows, she checking everything. She gonna tell you if there's a problem. So we gotta choose 1 or 2 students, just bring them along and say, this is how this is how you can do it too. Just getting to know them as business owners. Let's make that one of our objectives for 2020 and beyond is that we're going to give back to our community. And as Colby has already stated, that's going to change the trajectory, right? That's going to change their mindset because they're already often living in underserved communities, right? So they, like you said, they seeing dilapidated buildings, they're seeing trash on their streets. It appears that no one cares. So if we as business owners just take the time to say, listen, I care. Come on, let me get to know you. Let me get to know what you like. Okay, you interested in video games? Let me show you how you can be a video game designer. Let me show you how you can become an engineer. And if we're just taking that time, that changes their mindset that I don't have to become what I see. That there's better, there's greater, there's more.
And you don't have to be specific to some certain product or some certain skill set to introduce somebody to just like, hey, this is an opportunity over here. Like you don't have to be a subject matter expert.
Come on.
To like pass on something good to somebody. And a lot of times, we feel like I gotta have X, Y, and Z,
right.
or
I gotta have a master's degree. I ain't making six figures yet, so I don't have, I don't know if I can help somebody. You hit something on here. So my uncles, of course, had like their 9 to 5, but they also like had their hustle, as we would say. So like one of my uncles was a mechanic, is a mechanic. So he used to have my cousins at the house every weekend, and they had to cut the grass. And then when somebody would bring their car in, they had to like basically sit there with him and watch him, do this. Now, did any of them grow up to be mechanics? Yeah. But what they did grow up to be was hard working. See what I'm saying? Like, so what she's saying is, what you're teaching them, they may not become a mechanic, they may not become a plumber, they may not become an electrician, but what they will become are children or young adults that value hard work, that value excellence, that don't have a problem getting up at 6 in the morning, making sure that things are taken care of, which makes them, one, a great employee or a great entrepreneur. But then on a personal level, they can become great partners and great fathers and great mothers. Yeah. Because that's part of what it takes to be a parent, is that you got to be able to be responsible, that you have to put other people's needs ahead of your own. So when they see that you're doing that as a business owner, that translates in every area of their lives. Financially being responsible. Yeah. Because I'm watching you, and even though I'm the money hasn't came yet, but in my mind, I get. But I'm also financially responsible, right? Yeah. So even though you think I'm rich, I'm not out here spending a whole lot of money on frivolous stuff. And if you ask me for frivolous stuff, I'm telling you like, no, I think there's a better way to do it. And there's a lesson that we can learn from this. And so these are teachable moments. But because we spend time together, when it's time for me to teach you something, you're receptive to it. Yeah. That's not the only time you're talking to me. It's telling me that I'm bad. I need to pull my pants up. You don't like my music. That can't be the only time. That relationship, like you said, that relationship, that really does wonders for kids. Yeah. So when you come with a different rhetoric, if you will, different conversation piece, when you teaching something, it's like, well, this is the demand of like this working here or being a part of this. And so kids just kind of fall in line to those bullet points more than a person telling them. Yeah. I think that's the independence. Like, oh, okay, because I'm doing this now. Right. I'm part of this. I'm such and such. But that's good. I mean, kids need to be more aligned. Like just having more of a day-to-day schedule. I just feel like that's the issue too. People just too loose. Yeah. It's too loose. They need structure. You need structure. Yeah. And that's part of what allows them to develop that trust factor. Because it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna get up at this time. I know I'm gonna eat at this time. Yeah. I know I'm gonna do work at this time. These are the things, and I know this day in and day out, this is going to happen for me. And they do well by that structure. Yeah. Yeah. What Uh, what else do you personally have going on?
So, still working within Penny Up.
Okay.
Which
Talk
is
to us about that.
yes. I started Penny Up in 2015 in an effort, as mentioned previously, to assist students around financial literacy. But a more in-depth story around that is that working at the school, socially and emotionally, we noticed that our widespread school events were just kind of not at an all-time high. Like we had
Okay.
graduation, we were building this basketball and cheerleading type team, but we didn't have a school prom at the time.
Okay.
And so me and the students kind of got together, our student government members, like what can we do? And I mean, definitely financially, that was not necessarily an issue, but that those were not funds that were allocated for and were discussed for students.
Okay.
And so we were at home with a hoagie. Y'all know they got the best fries, best sauce. So we at home with a hoagie, and there's some change like all over the countertop, like sprayed all over the countertop. And, just in creating conversation amongst folks, the students began to ask the people, like, why nobody picked up the pennies?
Yeah.
And then I'm telling y'all, maybe it was the sauce eating the fries. Like, it just hit me like, well, what if we did pick up all the pennies and, like, ask people to donate pennies for our prom? So, pennies for the prom. And it really kind of grew a ring to it. Corporate headquarters had caught on. They made a sizable donation from there, friends, family, pretty much everybody pitched in because this was our first prom. And we also wanted to just create the thought that just because this is considered an option school, that doesn't mean that we don't technically have options,
Right,
and
right.
that we can't participate is something that every high school should be able to participate in.
Absolutely.
So we hosted our first prom. We collected 230,000 pennies, and that's 2,300 for y'all, right out there. Which 2,300, was we had a long way to go. After that, but that really was a staple that young people cared that much about.
Yeah. And something they could get excited about.
Being celebrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Many of them are first generation immigrants.
Okay.
First generation high school, which is a term that we don't often hear about, more so focus around college. But that's a huge thing as well. And so the students, the parents, everybody just rallied around it. And then, Penny Up really from there, it kind of just took on the notion, like, looking at the more, even more history piece behind it. Abraham Lincoln is on the color of a penny because he supposedly freed the slaves, right? Well, that's what our history books tell us. And so even in looking in that, I began to like just do a lot of research on the penny, the various colors. It comes in your fair skin of mulatto all the way down to your darkest deep tone, right? And it's set up that way based on black people, or that's my belief thought around it. We've been looked at as a culture, as a very much so as a subsidized community of those that can't. But boy, when we bound up, 100 pennies look stronger than a dollar any day.
Come on,
come on. So I feel like that was the message. And you can only go up from a penny. So that's where penny up, came from. And really just, this message of unity. And it's like we're all on the same platform. Like no one is above or higher. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't get to 100 without 1 cent between 99 and 100. So it's like everyone's effective in their own way. Everyone matters. A difference, and just it's not just about money. Right. So Penny Up. Our motto is change the world. It just makes sense, and that's through resourcing. Really,
change the world. It just makes sense.
CENTS, guys, and really sharing resources. If you know something that could be beneficial to someone else, really sharing that platform with them, which may benefit them in a very short term or long term type of way. But if you don't put it out there, I think a lot of times people, we perish for a lack of knowledge. And so that's what we're doing. Like I said, 6-week programs throughout the city of Chicago high schools, teaching financial literacy basics.
So I want not to cut you off, but I want you guys to pay attention to that because a lot of people inbox me, they call me, they text me, Where can we do financial literacy? Where can we find this for our schools? Where are they doing these programs? This is a program right here, Penny Up, that is teaching financial literacy. And this is something we want our young people to know about
Yes.
before they get out into the world on their own. We want them to understand credit and the power of credit.
Yes.
We want them to understand cash and inflation and deflation and
Yeah.
what these things mean, especially when we're going through a situation like this,
Yeah.
a pandemic. Guess what? We're going to see inflation and deflation take place.
Yeah.
So we have to understand what that means. Understanding the stock market, understanding why it's important that you own, right? Why it's important that you own not only property, but that you own businesses.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? What are taxes? Why do we have to pay them?
Yeah.
So this is an important program. I'm gonna make sure that I post all of Colby's contact information, Penny Up's information, so that you guys can reach out to her, because this is again something that we want to partner with. This is a relationship that we want to build with our young people to understand the power of money, the power of financial literacy, and really understanding what that means. So I'm excited for all that Colby has going on. Like I said, when I met you, you impressed me so much, and not just me, but like everyone that I knew was like, man, have you talked to Colby? Have you heard Colby? And I'm like, we'll see, we'll see. And when I did, I was really just, like I said, thoroughly impressed. I love what you're doing over at Excel. I think that is important that needs to be done. I think that it was really important to get you on because we we have to take care of ourselves, right? And when I say ourselves, I mean that we have to take care of our children. We got to take care of our community. We have to be about this. This tree right here represents legacy. And so our legacy is not just our own. It's not just our own bloodline, but our legacy is our communities. A lot of us shouting Harvey, what are we doing in Harvey? What are we doing there? And when our children drive through there and they look at and they're like, this is where you was born? This is where you was raised? Why do it look like this? That's our legacy. That's what we're leaving them. So I needed Colby to come on and just talk to us not only about what's happening in the school systems and how we can better position our children to succeed in education, but also to give us vision into what's happening in the communities and where it starts at. And where it starts is at home. Where it starts is in the community. I'm excited about Kelvin Russell and a bunch of other contractors I know are really looking into how they can lift up and build up places like Harvey that once really were dynamic communities that people from the city travel to and move to for a better life for their children. And now we're seeing like the reverse happening right now. So I want to continue to like bring these relationships, bring these people together, and be able to highlight you guys so that people can get on the bandwagon and understand like you don't have to feel like there's nothing that can be done, right? A lot of times I think people don't act because they think the problem is too big and my act won't matter. I heard that a lot yesterday. People are like, it doesn't matter, my one vote doesn't matter. But we know that it does. It does. And if every person does one thing, that's when we're gonna see a difference.
And Wendy, I again want to echo the fact that I thank you for being brave, again, shedding light, providing a platform of real. This is real and raw. This is live. You know, there are no edits behind this. It's important that we continue to shed light on what's real. And in doing so, being brave is a huge piece of that. You know, too, watching you on your campaign trail, working and moving in an altruistic type way for the social welfare of others. Like really, it wasn't about anything else for you, but with that. And when community is always at the forefront, it's not about a monetary of any sort. It's not about it's not about those things, right? It's just about standing up and being brave enough to go out and do something that a lot of people may say they want to do, but they just don't do it. That plight is to be commended. And so, I totally appreciate being on this platform, being able to speak about education as it relates to on a community level, on a nation level, school, community. I said community, but on a community, statewide, citywide level. And it's just important to continue to have these conversations as women within Women's History Month. This is the 100th year that women have had the right to vote. And so even though this only was 100 years ago, it's really important that women make these outward expressions and continue to be brave and vocal.
I love that. Keep going, Colby. Keep going.
That's important. It's refreshing because more than ever, we had the leadership, the innate leadership ability was already built within us before we decided to want to run and within a political position in the city of Harvey. It was already built there, right? That was just the time to apply the pressure, right? But it's a constant build. You're right. Rolling through the community. I grew up on Lexington, so just to see where it is today, like I can't believe it, but either I can sit around and complain about it or I can make a move and do something about it. And looking to always be willing to do something about it. But I also think it's important that in doing something about it, making these long term effects, right? So I can go out and I can clean the street or around my area daily, or I can figure out who's a part of which waste management system that's going to be socially responsible to come into the community and make that demand. Or who do I need to talk to at ABC 7, WG, and these various media outlets that's going to bring this attention in and garner the respect that's mandated. Right. That's how we really make moves, right? So it's important that we do things on the ground level, but we have to continue to move in that plight. And see, that's not a political thing. That's just the things you got to do thing as a regular, everyday citizen in your community. And
I love that though. I love that because it goes back to relationship, right? Because we can clean up the streets every day, but one, let's develop a relationship with the trash company and say,
listen, how can we make you guys, since you already have the resources, how can we make this a part of what you do? That's one.
Two, developing a relationship with the community members to make them care about where they live.
That's the big part. People don't care. Whether it be Harvey, from Dalton to Fort Heights, all these smaller communities that kind of have done a 180 in a sense. They're not your most favorable communities. I mean, it is what it is. I still live in Harvey. It is what it is. Like that's not a
Harvey world.
Yeah, it's not a. I know what it was, so it's easy to be there and what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's not. It's just about people really caring, and across the Southland area, nobody really cares. I feel like it's kind of that.
And why do you think that is? Can I ask that? Why do you think people don't care?
I think it's a reverse effect, right? We see everything. We see gentrification at its highest, right? And it was at a time where we saw gentrification in the South suburban area, and where African Americans and Hispanics were being moved out to go to the city, and Caucasians were moving in. And again, that's no disrespect to any race or ethnicity, but those are just what the facts say.
Right.
And so now we have that same effect where gentrification, once again, which likely had already been ordained 10, 15, 20 years ago in somebody's plan, that this is what was going to take into effect.
So we're seeing a reverse. Is that you have certain ethnicities that are coming back to the city, and then they're bringing us out to the south suburbs
with less transportation needs, and you're talking populations of people who rely on public transportation, nearby retail stores. When you're moving in the South suburban area, things are more accessible to your view.
Right.
And so it's just again a play on ways to keep you distant and keep one population over here here, and we know how to keep them people in control, and then keep another over here. So it's just really important that whether it be you and I and or anybody out there that has enough know-how. You don't have to have the skill set, but just the know-how to want to do something, to make a phone call, like send an email, because those are the beginning steps of making a real change. It won't happen tomorrow,
Right.
but guess what? If you write enough letters, if you reach out to enough people, you can certainly build some steam, and slowly but surely something will happen. And that's a lot of times people just kind of wallow in what's going on, because it's like, I'm not calling them. Like, that just seemed like a long shot. Or I'm not sending that person an email. It's just like, you never know. Y'all slide they in. Just saying.
Look, it didn't build marriages. So
I'm just saying, like,
can we get the community clean, sliding in waste management systems then?
Period. I mean, so yeah, because communities shouldn't have to feel stricken with the responsibility of what someone's everyday employment responsibility is. I'm not saying don't, take care of your home, right?
Right.
Be clean, take care of yours. But that's why we each have a to do in what we do.
Right.
And I think that's
each
important.
one of us play a part.
We all play
and if we play our part, and then big business or these corporations or companies that have the resources play their part, then we will see the shift, we will see the trajectory change. But like you said, it's important that we reach out.
Yeah.
Some of us already have those type of relationships. Yeah. Okay, now it's time for you to speak up.
Absolutely.
To speak on our behalf, to be true to us. I think a lot of times what we see is that we make it and then we forget where we came from, right? So it's like, I'm doing this, I'm out of it. I done got this much money, I'm out of it. Okay, I'm out of it. But then what happens to those communities? Yeah. Is that they become dilapidated. They become what we're seeing because we've made it and we've left. And now, in the part of you making it, you've developed strong relationships with people that have the resources to help change those communities. But you're not even thinking about it. Yeah. So we have to, again, see that this is what all this time is about. This is what all this year is about. See how we can make a difference. See how we can use our resources, use our relationships, use our time, use our energy to change not only my child, not only my cousin's child, but a community. Yeah. A community. And collectively, we can do that. I believe as a people that there is nothing unobtainable for us. No. Anything we put our minds to, we make happen. So now it's time for us to put our minds to changing what we're seeing, what our children are seeing, what they're being subjected to. They don't have to feel like, oh, I started from the bottom. How about we ain't got to start from the bottom? How about that? What if we make that cool? Not that I came from the projects, but my kids started in middle class and now they in upper class. Yeah. Like that. We can do that. Because a lot of us are living those examples and we can pass that on to our kids. You don't have to grow up in what Harvey looked like now. You can grow up in what Harvey looked like when I was a kid and when my mom was a kid. And you can be proud of that. Yeah. But in order for us to see that, we have to be willing to work.
Totally. You hit it right all on the head. Period. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
We got to do the work. Get to know your kids. Talk to them this week. See where their minds are. See how they're feeling. Business owners, let's give back. Not just money, but let's give back resources. Let's give back by mentoring. Let's give back by reaching out to our connections and our relationships. Let's continue to collaborate. Collaboration over competition. We screaming that now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Wealth Building Wednesday. Thank you, Colby, for being here. And talking to our audience. will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Stay safe.
Right.